Hi there, I'm the Mythkeeper. Welcome back to my channel. This week, I'm doing an entirely new video series. I'm calling this my Creature Feature video series, and I'm kicking it off with an exploration of giants. I'm going to talk about all the different subtypes of giants, their cultures, their histories. In a future video, I'm going to go deep on the giant pantheon, because giants have their own pantheon in the world of Pathfinder. And all in all, hopefully I think this will be a fun video series, and there'll be more of them. So if there are other creatures you'd like me to go deep on, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you at the end of the video.
Throughout human history, few beings have captured the imagination and been featured in so many legends and myths as giants. Going as far back as the first civilizations along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, giants have featured heavily in our collective mythology. In those early mythologies of Sumer and Mesopotamia, there were several races of giants known as the Anunnaki. According to their myths, the Anunnaki were said to have lived in the underworld and were considered to be powerful and fearsome beings. They were often depicted as having human-like forms, but with monstrous features and immense strength. The Anunnaki were said to have played a role in the creation of the world and the establishment of human civilization. In Hinduism, the giants called the Daityas were depicted as wearing enormous jewelry and going to war against the gods due to their envy of the gods' powers. This theme of giants and gods fighting each other will repeat itself again and again in myths across the world. In ancient Greece, the Titans waged a war against the gods for dominion of the world. In Norse mythology, the Jotnar were a race of giants who were in constant conflict with the gods of Asgard. The most famous Jotun was the frost giant Ymir, who was killed by Odin and his brothers, and his body used to create the world. In Old Irish mythology, the Fomorians were a race of giants who were said to have terrorized the ancient Irish people. In these myths, they were eventually defeated by the Tuatha De Danann, the ancient gods of Ireland. Why are giants featured in so many of our myths and legends? And why are they so often the enemies of the gods themselves? It might be that these stories were rooted in our very first myths and were therefore repeated again and again throughout human history, or it could also be that the natural connection humans of the ancient world saw between size and power meant that the concepts of giants was almost inevitable, even for disparate people building civilizations in relative isolation from one another. Regardless, just as they are mythologically significant in our world, so too are they relevant to the history of the Pathfinder world. Giants have featured heavily in many of the published Pathfinder adventure paths, including the very first adventure path ever published, Rise of the Rune Lords, which saw the first appearance of the Rune Giants. Nowhere are they featured more heavily than in the first edition adventure path called Giant Slayer, inspired by the classic Against the Giants adventure of the 1970s. But they are scattered across the various published adventures beyond these, and are now pretty deeply woven into the fabric of the Pathfinder world. Giants and Pathfinder have their own pantheon, their own cultures and civilization, and their own histories. There are 10 types of giants that could be considered the most iconic giants that dwell on Golarion, each titanic being having its own distinct role and legends within the Inner Sea. Though the origin stories of giants are as varied as the towering beings themselves, most scholars believe the giants that walk Golarion are the distant descendants of the Titans or the Gigas. So before we get into the 10, let's briefly touch on the Titans and the Pathfinder version of that classic trope of the gods and Titans fighting each other for supremacy in the Age of Creation. The Titans and the Gigas. According to one legend, the gods created the Titans from the raw material of the universe while it was still cooling on Torag's forge. The gods tasked the Titans with helping to shape the young multiverse, and gave them power and wealth to complete their work. However, for reasons that remain unclear, the Titans rebelled against their masters and declared themselves the true rulers of eternity. The resulting war shook the foundations of the universe, and resulted in the destruction of entire planes. But in the end, the gods emerged victorious, and banished the traitorous Titans to the depths of Abaddon. Those Titans who had sought peace with the gods, and would become known as the Elysian Titans, were rewarded with their own domains, and the freedom to travel across the infinite planes of creation. See my videos on the plains of Golarion for more details on the Titans that dwell in Elysium, Abaddon, and elsewhere. Although today the Titans no longer dwell on the material plane, the legacy of the great task the gods gave to them during the Age of Creation still exists. In that ancient time, before they rebelled, the Titans, still glowing with the heat of creation, roamed the plains, and wherever they went, new life arose in the wake of their footsteps. Born from the substance of the plains and the divine spark of their Titan parents, the Gigas, as they were called, possessed only a fraction of the power of the gods, but they shared the immense size and strength of their progenitors, and were uniquely adapted to their environments. Over time, the Gigas interbred with other mortal creatures, producing offspring of immense size and special adaptations to their surroundings. These are the various races of giants we know today. The Gigas themselves were never a prominent species. They were nearly hunted to extinction by deific agents after the Titans' rebellion. In the time since, the gods brought down the Titans and scattered them to the farthest reaches of the multiverse, and the Gigas have only become rare, as they are not born as other types of creatures are, but made from the raw power of the Titans themselves, who in turn have gone into seclusion. The remaining Gigas today wander the multiverse, caring little for the affairs of mortals on the material plane, except when the massacre or recruitment of such tiny beings benefits their extraplanar struggles in some way. When they are cowed by greater beings such as Titans or gods, Gigas carry out tasks on the material plane, but they are always loath to do so, preferring to be in command of their own destiny. If the Titans themselves could be considered demigods created by the gods with great divine power to carry out their early work, then the Gigas could be considered quarter gods, and their progeny, the various giant races of Galarian, could all be considered to carry within them the divine spark also. While the history of giants and their immensely powerful ancestors on Galarian is a long one, the list of encounters with Gigas in mortal memory is thankfully short. The Giant Slayer Compendium on the Titans and the Gigas only notes 4 recent appearances of the Elder Titan spawn on Galarian. One such example is in the Northlands between the realm of the Mammoth Lords and the Crown of the World. A renegade faction of the Blackfire Adepts, a cabal of sorcerers operating in the northern reaches, took to calling itself the Order of the Black Rift and began serving an ancient power. This Order of the Black Rift summoned this power into the material world, a maelstrom Gigas, which laid waste to the scant settlements left in the region. The renegade mages have now sworn fealty to the ancient creature, and it is now slowly moving south, carving out a territory for itself and the Black Rift sorcerers who serve it. Now the surviving Blackfire Adepts have sent out a missive for bold giant hunters to destroy the Gigas and disband the outlaw mages before it's too late. Another example is lost amid Isgar's foothills. Kazamian Hill haunts fables and tavern songs for hosting an ever-shifting structure within itself. Alternatively, a temple complex, a treasure-laden tomb, or a nightmarish prison, depending on who tells the tale, this dungeon punishes the wicked and rewards the good. Though the dungeon is filled with unique treasures, the greatest reward within is the Nirvana Gigas Kanar. This near-divine being is trapped there in a magical slumber, her dreams altering the physical structure of the dungeon itself. This entity would be endlessly grateful towards any mortal who wakened her and helped her return to Nirvana. The other 2 examples have only visited Galarian infrequently. The fire Gigas Atognacrius, who escaped enslavement at the hands of Imeri, the elemental lord of the Plane of Fire, and walked the material world of Galarian, leaving volcanic ridges and burnt wastelands in his wake before escaping again to parts unknown. Also, the hellborn Gigas known as Kel the Denier, servant of the infernal Duke Uruskriel, has been sent to Galarian a few times on errands from his devilish master. Uruskriel's areas of concern seem contradictory, as they are mercilessness and revelation, and his purposes on Galarian are vague and inscrutable, but his servant Kel has never failed at his assigned task. More interesting still is that Kel the Denier regularly disappears for short periods when he journeys to the world of mortals, though no one knows where he goes in his absences. Hill Giants. Hill Giants are monstrous beings characterized by their imposing height, relentless selfishness, and simple-minded nature. They inhabit the rolling hills that bear their name, posing a constant threat to nearby communities who suffer the consequences of their cruel behavior. Their raids are primarily driven by their need for food and resources, but they also delight in causing indiscriminate destruction. Despite their lack of intelligence, hill giants are savvy enough to derive pleasure from chaos, and their insatiable hunger and greed makes them relentless in their pursuit of anything that can be consumed or destroyed. Hill giants are imposing creatures, standing anywhere from 10 to 11 feet in height and weighing up to 1,300 pounds. The smallest hill giants stand about 8.5 feet tall, a relatively rare condition among their kind. Such relatively short individuals are derogatively termed guffs by their peers, who regard them as the giant equivalent of runts. Despite their smaller stature, they are not otherwise lacking in capability, and guffs, given the same responsibilities as other hill giants, are likely to have a similar success rate. Hill Giants have a distinct skin tone ranging from tan to dusky brown due to their love for spending time in the sun, which often leads to sunburn and hair loss. Their bodies are also characterized by a red or bronze upper torso and a pale pink or light gray lower half, with those in warmer climates having a coppery skin tone. Hill Giants are a nomadic people and claim their settlements with a lazy, loud, yet swift approach. They live in makeshift shelters such as caves and captured wagons, and in warmer weather they sometimes use animal pelts as makeshift hammocks and roofs. The tribe's leaders, the chieftains, typically force the tribe to build a private shelter for them to guard their treasures. These treasures are stored in a mud hole, and the chieftain often sleeps on the ground beside it. Only those family members she trusts may sleep in the shanty with her. Family ties among the highly fertile and promiscuous Hill Giants are complex. They engage in polygamous and often incestuous relationships. Only the chieftain is allowed to be territorial with their mates, and other tribe members who show signs of possessiveness over a mate are promptly reprimanded. The birth of a living Hill Giant baby is marked by a great feast, which serves as a measure of the tribe's resources. If the tribe still has a bountiful store or source of food after the feast, the baby is celebrated and scarified to symbolize its allegiance to the tribe. If the chieftain determines the tribe cannot sustain another member, the baby is killed publicly, and the corpse is used as bait to attract game. This brutal tradition is so ingrained in Hill Giant society that the mothers of sacrificed children rarely react to the barbaric act, and all view the ceremony as a necessary part of life, often relishing in the bloodshed. Hill Giants hold strength above all, and they learn to respect brawn at a young age. They do not necessarily need to spill blood to show their strength, and they often capture their opponents instead of killing them in raids or conflicts. These captured rivals are taken back to the Hill Giant camps as slaves, where they are forced to work and intermingle to produce more servants. Hill Giants look for strength in their slaves, and they especially enjoy enslaving enemy warriors for their own battles. Slaves who display extraordinary prowess in battle and survive may be adopted into the tribe, but this is a rare occurrence, and few non-Hill Giants desire such an allegiance. Hill Giants commonly raise wolves and other beasts as hunting companions. Religion is relatively unimportant in Hill Giant society, but each tribe has its own origin story and often practices shamanism or primitive superstitions, making living sacrifices to their violent gods. Some Hill Giants worship deities such as Fandara, Norgorber, Rovagug, or Arazra for their aid in battle and in the hunt. Independent and wise Hill Giants may leave their tribes in search of a more meaningful life, either wandering as loners or coming into contact with more peaceful humanoids. Cyclops. Cyclops are a legendary race of one-eyed giants known for their tragic history and uncertain future. They were once the dominant rulers of ancient empires in rugged parts of the world, but now they are just brutish remnants of their former greatness. The great empire of the Golgan, the preeminent Cyclops empire of the Age of Serpents, ruled over much of western Garand for millennia, but abruptly their power came to an end, just as did the empire of the Serpent Folk they shared the ancient world with. So too did the empire of Coloran in northwestern Casmaran and the secret Cyclops city of Iblidos, along with many others. Today, the ancient glory of the old Cyclops empires are long forgotten. Many humans have more knowledge about their ancient kingdoms than the giants themselves today, who are driven by anger and a painful hunger that torments their mind. The giants have lost most of their memories and gaze at the ruins of their ancestors' monuments, trying to understand the secrets that have been lost to them for so long. Cyclops are generally 9 feet tall and weigh 600 pounds. Both genders are usually hairless, with the exception of some dark hair hanging above their ears. They have a single bushy eyebrow that adds to their expressive nature and lets others know when to run from their wrath. Cyclops are born with great resilience, able to walk and talk after 1 year and becoming self-sufficient by 10. They reach sexual maturity in their 2nd or 3rd decade and can live to be nearly 200 years old, although many among their kind consider death in battle the only honorable way to go. The most distinctive feature of a Cyclops is the solitary eye in the center of its forehead. The eye is even larger than the combined size of 2 human eyes, and provides better peripheral vision and sharper sight. They have supernatural abilities to temporarily glimpse into the future, which was once a powerful gift, but now is a curse as well, as the visions are often of suffering and death. There is also a stronger and more bestial breed of Cyclops, known as the Great Cyclops. These brutes are less intelligent and do not have the gift of foresight, but they make up for it with their strength and rage. They are revered as divine beings by primitive humanoid tribes, and even sometimes by other Cyclops themselves, who worship them through strange cults and sacrifices of flesh. The Cyclops of today tend to live in small groups or tribes. They protect their caves and lairs, but have no ambition and are content with their simple way of life. However, their gift of prophecy serves as a reminder of their past greatness and what could be regained in the future. In Cyclops society, the leader is usually the tribal chief known as the tyrant, who rises to power through strength. Cyclops value slaves and often engage in intertribal conflicts over them. They have limited agriculture and rely on herding domesticated animals for food. Regardless of their more limited faculties compared to their forebears, there are still some among their kind who rise above the simple-mindedness of their fellows. Those few who aspire to greater deeds typically become tyrants among their kind, some driving their tribes to destructive campaigns of war against nearby settlements. On the other hand, there are some Cyclops who strive to learn from their ancestors, seeking out ancient texts and carvings in caverns and ruins. While they are often unable to uncover much more than other scholars, sometimes those who have proven especially sensitive to their ancestors' voices may be able to glean something substantial from their ponderings. Yet even the most learned of Cyclops knows relatively little about their ancestors and the ancient empires that once belonged to their people, and it may be that their lost secrets will remain hidden from them forevermore. Marsh Giants. The swamps are a dangerous place, known for their various perils to both seasoned wanderers and experienced adventurers. The dangers range from quicksand to creeper vines, giant sturges, and even worse. But the most feared among them are the Marsh Giants, the deformed offspring of long-lost hill giant tribes. These swamp-dwelling giants are a disturbing mix of fish, frog, and humanoid, with slimy, hairless bodies, webbed fingers and toes, and bulging black eyes. Standing at 11 feet and weighing around 1,500 pounds, these creatures exude both sloth and power through their towering and rotund bodies. Although some may cover parts of their bare flesh with animal skins, most prefer to go without clothing, as their thick skin offers sufficient protection from the harsh elements of the swamp. The moss-green coloring of marsh giants allows them to blend into their swampy surroundings and move undetected despite their size. They are surprisingly agile and can hurl logs and tree stumps with devastating force and accuracy when they launch an attack. Although all marsh giants appear equally ugly to casual observers, the reality is that inbreeding among tribes and families has led to a wide range of appearances and abilities. According to local legends, the marsh giants are said to be the result of a branch of the giants' evolutionary tree, descended from a tribe of hill giants who committed a serious sin and fled far to the remote swamps to escape retaliation. Over the centuries, their bodies adapted to life in the mire, and only their language, a dialect of giant mixed with boggart and other swamp languages, remained as a reminder of their past lives. However, these creatures are not to be pitied, as they are violent, cruel, and repulsive beings that worship Dagon, the abyssal patron of deformities. Marsh giants carry out repulsive rituals to the demon lord, and make bloody sacrifices to him, often near the coast of rivers leading to the sea. The vulgar allegiance to Dagon is common among all marsh giants, and serves as the central force that binds them together in mutual depravity. Marsh giants reside in tribes of around 24 individuals for the purpose of mutual protection. Despite this, they are not known for their social skills, and their populations remain low due to swamp predators, internal conflict, and cannibalistic tendencies. Each family within a tribe lives in a dilapidated and unsanitary hovel made of branches, vines, mud, and bones, often situated in the shallow parts of the swamp and knee-deep in the muck. Neither parent shows much affection for their offspring, who tend to die frequently due to neglect or the ingestion of toxic fungi. When the males hunt, they bring back food, but often eat on the spot, and if they capture intelligent prey, they may cage it for sacrifice or torture. The marsh giants have a reputation for being foul and reprehensible, even among other giants, and only hill giants attempt alliances with them, which always end in failure. They are typically left alone as they prefer to live in their swamps and engage in their rituals. When a marsh giant dies, the tribe consumes its body, in the belief that they can gain its spiritual essence. But if a tribe member breaks a taboo, they are cast out, as their spirit is believed to be poisonous. These exiles wander the land until they find a new location to start a new tribe. The swamp is a brutal place, but the marsh giants have learned to coexist with other primitive races, such as boggards who share their worship of Dagon. They can also form temporary alliances with sea hags, spirit nagas, or black dragons if they are particularly powerful. However, interaction with more civilized cultures of mire dwellers, such as lizard folk or Griepli, typically leads to conflict and violence. Stone giants. To those who are unfamiliar, stone giants can seem like mysterious, inanimate creatures made of stone, with flesh that resembles rock and personalities as unyielding as the earth. However, the truth is that their faces are made of flesh, their bodies are covered with skin, and they have blood that is as red as anybody else's. Misconceptions about stone giants are widespread, with many believing them to be responsible for natural disasters like landslides and thunderstorms. Most flee at the sight of a stone giant, thinking of them as no better than other destructive giants. However, stone giants are known for their reclusiveness, avoiding contact with outsiders and rarely sharing their own cultures and traditions. This only adds to the enigma that surrounds them. Stone giants may be mistaken for statues or golems from a distance, with their gray, hairless skin and angular faces that resemble sculpted features. Their eyes are gray with little white, similar to stone carvings. Although a typical stone giant stands 12 feet tall and weighs 1,500 pounds, they can vary in size quite a bit from this norm. Stone giants have lanky but muscular builds, and are surprisingly quick due to their light, honeycombed bones. Stone giants have thick, dusty gray hides that are difficult to pierce, leading to the rumor that their flesh is made of stone. Their skin develops deep creases and cracks as they age, and their muscles bulge like rocky nodules, with the oldest individuals sporting calluses up to 2 inches thick. While young stone giants are rumored to grow patches of moss, this is a myth, likely born of the fact that some wear moss hides so as to better blend in with their rocky surroundings and elude observation. Stone giants are long-lived, with a lifespan of up to 800 years, and they mature at a slow rate, only reaching maturity at 100 years of age or so. They are expert herders of the mountain animals and supplement their diet with wild game and vegetation, as well as grapes they grow for wine. They flavor their food with a mixture of salt and minerals, making their meals gritty fare for those with weaker teeth and stomachs. According to the oral storytelling tradition of the stone giant elders, their ancestors were the first and oldest giants, who walked the world in the age of creation. And it may be that this account is among the truest we have of the origins of the giant subspecies. In this earliest time, they say, from the stone giants there came their close relatives, the Taiga Giants, who traveled north into the frozen tundra. Some of these first giant kindreds were seduced away by evil gods to become frost and fire giants, while deities of wheel bestowed new magical gifts on others and brought about the cloud and storm giants. Then the rune lords of ancient Thassalon crossbred taiga and fire giants to craft the mighty Rune Giants, who enslaved all of giant kind, including many stone giants. When the rune lords of Thassalon discovered the stone giants' skill with earth and stone, they were forced into slavery and used to build countless structures. Although the stone giants eventually gained their freedom, that experience changed them. They no longer lived as simple herders and cave dwellers, but instead they have learned the ways of stonemasonry and ironwork. Some have even turned away from their ancestors and worship human gods. The stone giants of the modern age are now divided between two paths: those who use their knowledge and skills to reshape the world, and those who will still honor their ancestors and hold on to their old traditions. Today, the Storval Plateau remains the heart of stone giant civilization. Most practice the skills learned in their time in Thassalon, following a way of life they referred to as stone giant high culture, or the Rune Road. A few tribes, however, eschew the path of the Rune Road entirely, in favor of so-called stone giant low culture, choosing to live in unworked stone caves and giving up the use of metal entirely in favor of the old ways. The militaristic clans of Varisia's Iron Peaks and Wyvern Mountains reject the old traditions entirely, disparaging them as weak and useless things that betrayed their race into slavery. Spurning the guidance of the elders and their traditional forms of government, these tribes serve under ruthless war chiefs and reject herding and hunting in favor of brutal raids and banditry. Lord Mokmurian, a self-styled stone giant transmuter, rules the fortress of Jorgenfist in the Iron Peaks, with a number of other giants at his command as well. North of the Storval Plateau, the stone giants of the Tusk and Kodar Mountains often engage in war with the tribes of the Mammoth Lords. The Kelid tribes that oppose them seek more than mere glory, however, and with each slaughtered clan of giants, they adopt the orphan stone giant youths of the clan to raise as their own. These foundlings often grow to love their captors as they would their own families, and fight fiercely on their behalf. Fire Giants. The Fire Giants, known for their love of battle and their exceptional blacksmith skills, reside in underground fortresses near rivers of molten magma. Despite their towering stature, many compare them to dwarves due to their sturdy builds, but on a much larger and more violent scale. Men are often unkempt, sporting messy beards with metal rings and chains woven together. They wear armor and open-faced helmets in battle, armed with either greatswords or other massive bladed weapons. They are typically over a dozen feet tall and weigh over 7,000 pounds. Their skin ranges from deep red to sooty black, with fiery orange hair that glows like burning embers when they become angry. Others have hair the color of lead or burnished black, with red, gold, or orange eyes. Fire Giants command respect from other races due to their strength and smithing abilities. Their ironworks are highly sought after by other giant kind, and bearing the mark of a Fire Giant smith is a point of pride. Fire Giants do not often create products for smaller races, though occasionally a non-giant warrior may catch the attention of a Fire Giant blacksmith, resulting in a tentative trade agreement. However, these dealings can be dangerous for all involved, and Fire Giants usually prefer to conquer and demand tribute instead. The dwarves, who hold historical, cultural, and religious animosity towards giants, and who will brook no rivals in the iron trade, are particularly outraged by fire giants who dare participate in trade with other smaller mortals. As a result, numerous conflicts have often taken place between dwarves and fire giants for control over trade, honor, and power. Fire giants make their home in mountainous regions filled with volcanic activity. They thrive in the environments created by the smoke and fumes of volcanic vents, enjoying the sulfuric stench, while it can be suffocating for others. Fire giants are able to cross rivers of molten magma with ease, and often design their dwellings to take advantage of the heat and the pyroclastic hazards of the area. Not only does this make them comfortable, but it also serves as a deterrent for unwanted visitors. Fire giants have digestive systems as powerful as furnaces and can extract nutrients from most organic matter, though consuming non-preferred foods can cause discomfort. Food is scarce in their environments, so they often delve deep into the earth to cultivate gardens tended by their thralls, or, as has been discussed, use trade agreements with neighboring races to supplement their stores. Fire giants are unique among their giant kin due to their strong sense of unity and purpose. Unlike other giants who tend to live in isolation or in small, clannish groups, fire giants have a fierce love of battle and embrace the order brought about by violence. They worship Zurzvater, the Prince of Steel, as their creator and patron deity, who offered a tribe of stone giants the power of fire and steel in exchange for their worship and dominion over their souls. The Prophecy of Twilight is a story passed down through generations in Fire Giant society that foretells the fiery end of the world brought about by the Fire Giants. Fire Giants believe it is their destiny to let their thunderous swords and hammers be heard throughout the world, and every action they take in battle, every slave laboring in giant furnaces, echoes in Zurzvater's eternal fires and the forging of the Sword of Twilight. In Avestan, Fire Giants once roamed the Cinderlands of Varissia, and still exist in the Storval Plateau, but now they primarily reside in the Kodar Mountains. Fire Giant fortresses feature tall, sturdy towers with beacon fires on top, signaling to nearby giants. The majority of these structures, however, are below ground, with halls and chambers arranged around a central shaft that descends hundreds of feet into the earth. In the barrier wall mountains of northern Garand, where the climate is warmer, fire giants can also be found in large numbers. Here they mine the land in open-air pits, and their fortresses consist of squat blockhouses enclosing slave camps where captives work in manufacturing or rest between shifts. The fire giant kingdom of Kurdrag in southern Thuvia is known for its active participation in the slave trade, and its denizens will pay a fair price or trade goods for slaves. Both Kurdrag and nearby fire giant kingdoms frequently patrol the scorching deserts of Rahadum, Thuvia, and Osirian for potential prey. Frost Giants. In the brutal cold of the northern lands, a savage race of giants known as Frost Giants have set their sights on conquest and domination. Their icy bodies and steely hatred have made them feared by all who know them. The native populations of these lands stand little chance against the sheer size and strength of these behemoths, and in the lands of the Linorm kings in particular, it took the coordinated action of all the kingdoms working together to eventually destabilize the mighty giant nation of Old Cyrusian, which held power there since the fall of Thassalon. The creation myth of these giants states that they were formed from the body of the giant god Thrymir, the first Jarl, when he fell into the steaming sea. According to their belief, chunks of Thrymir's icy form broke off and landed on the nearby shore, giving birth to the first frost giants. Despite their immediate reverence for their creator, Thrymir was repulsed by their diminutive nature. But upon their return with offerings of weapons and blood, Thrymir was pleased and began to listen to their prayers. However, despite becoming the patron god of the Frost Giants, the god's moods are notoriously erratic, and he can become rageful if not properly appeased with treasures and sacrifice. The Frost Giants stand out even among other giant species for their imposing presence. At a height of around 15 feet and a weight of around 2,800 pounds, they are truly a sight to behold. Their skin ranges in colors of soft blue or frost white, and their flesh is always chilly to the touch. Yet their bodies are powered by hot blood. Frost Giants have hair in shades of dirty yellow, white, or light blue, which they often wear long and braided, and their eyes can be either amber or icy cyan. Male Frost Giants take pride in their long beards, which they soak with water before battle to create fearsome icicles. Frost Giants can live up to 250 years of age, but most die much younger than this, due to the dangers of their combative lifestyles and the inhospitable conditions of their habitats. At around the age of 50, Frost Giants reach maturity, though it is not uncommon for much younger giants to be sent into battle by their tribe members. They believe that youth and inexperience are not justifications to delay the thrill of war. Both genders are encouraged to participate in combat as they feel the excitement of victory and taste the blood of their enemies. Relationships between Frost Giants are intense but brief, and the women are typically responsible for raising the children unless they are strong enough to bully their mate into this work. Fortunately for these impatient giants, their young become largely independent after just a few years and are capable of hunting and taking care of themselves by the time they reach their first decade. Frost Giants are brutal warriors who live by the law of the strongest. The leader of each tribe, known as the Jarl, is the mightiest warrior and is appointed through brutal combat with other contenders. If a Jarl is charismatic enough, they can even control other tribes, and some lead massive warbands. Some Frost Giants possess magical abilities and serve as shamans, who are highly respected among their peers and tasked with preserving their heritage and teaching the tribe's history. The Frost Giants take their ancestral traditions very seriously, and their shamans play a crucial role in maintaining their cultural identity. Frost Giants, like many other giant species, often keep human slaves as well as monstrous pets. These pets can range from winter wolves, white dragons, and any other creatures native to the frosty domains they inhabit. Additionally, mammoths, yetis, remoras, and linnorms may be seen battling alongside Frost Giants in combat or guarding their settlements while they are out plundering. Frost Giants who reside in the northern part of Avestan are sometimes taken captive by daring Kelid tribes, who then raise them to serve as their own family members in battles later in life. It is rumored that one Kelid tribe in the Tusk Mountains has captured and raised at least a dozen such Frost Giants, though it is uncertain how long they can handle their huge and demanding adoptees. Jarl Nargarak, who calls himself the king of all Frost Giants and commands an army of them from his castle Bosfargrum in the Tusk Mountains, is known for having defeated a silver dragon and claiming its horns as a symbol of his leadership. He often leads raids against the Kelid tribes and has a harem of cloud giants serving as his personal guard. Jarl Grunganir rules from the Frost Giant fortress of Holvirgang, which sits in Irisen's far north. He had a strong alliance with Queen Elvana before she was deposed by Queen Anastasia in 4713. It is not known what his relationship is with Irisen's new ruler, but it is rumored Grunganir worships the demon lord Kochchi and has plans to overthrow her rule. Zar Kragnal in the Stormspear Mountains is a legendary fortress with a reputation for being a portal to the afterlife and the domain of the Deathless Jarl. She claims to have been granted eternal life by Pharasma and commands the obedience of many giant tribes throughout the mountains. Her ultimate goals remain a mystery. Taiga Giants. Taiga Giants are gray-skinned nomads standing 20 feet tall and weighing 10,000 pounds when fully grown, with skin tones that range the palette of gray from pale dove to slate and sooty charcoal. Taiga Giants naturally blend into the shadows, mists, and squalls of their hilly forest homelands. Their hair runs from flaming red to auburn, and they wear garments of natural materials, cured hides, and layered furs. They may go unarmored, or wear simple breastplates or breeches of darkened leather, but in times of war they wear full suits of hide armor and equip great wooden shields. Their favored weapons are long-hafted spears, and their lower jaws bear sharp, tusk-like canines. Taiga Giants build few permanent habitations and tend to live in deep wilderness areas, particularly in the vast boreal forests of subpolar regions. They hunt for food and follow migratory herds northward in the summer. They cultivate berry fields and beehives near their lodges, but never linger long, as too many mouths in one area requires far too much food for the environment to sustain. Families maintain ancestral lodges in the great forests and hills they wander. Taiga Giants are born the size of an adult human and grow slowly over the first decade. They reach physical maturity between ages 50 and 70, and they live for about 400 years total. These giants constantly migrate across large swaths of wilderness in constant search of new prey. Taiga giants gather in family groups that include local and extended family members, and they carry small totems representing their child self, adult self, family self, and tribe self. They also adopt totems representing achievements throughout their lives. Taiga giants are animists and use oracular rituals to discern portents and omens. They are ambivalent towards smaller races, and in fact sometimes friendly with the Varki and Erutaki, whom they share the hostile north with, but hostile towards other giant races, especially fire giants and rune giants, due to a history of enslavement. Taiga giants can be found in subpolar regions, such as the Garjuk Hills north of Avestan and the White Woods of Malarkan north of Tianxia. The Taiga giants in the latter wood are particularly savage, ruled by the cleric Athumi Karanjit. In Avestan, Taiga giants are widespread in the northwestern regions and have both clashed with and been accepted by Kelid tribes. Taiga giants in Sarkoris were once at odds with frost giants, but were mostly wiped out during the demonic invasion of the World Wound. The remaining Taiga giants were either enslaved or separated from their western kin. Some settled in Ostrovian and the Gronzi forests, while one group, led by a Taiga giant druid named Atik Herhara, settled in northern Ayabaria, and are now working to restore the destroyed woodlands there. Storm giants. Storm giants are ancient and benevolent beings, larger and stronger than most other giants. They are connected to the natural world, with wind and water responding to their moods. Despite their haughty and proud nature, they have captured the hearts of many mortals and immortals throughout history. They possess wanderlust and are known to travel with their families. While difficult to earn their favor, storm giants remain loyal once befriended. They are rumored to dwell in remote locations, soaring through the skies on tamed rocks and griffins, and some believe they can change their shape into eagles or even humans. These myths have some plausibility due to the reclusive nature and immense power of storm giants. Storm giants stand over 20 feet in height and weigh upwards of 12,000 pounds. Storm giants have unusual skin pigmentation, with most having human-like skin tones, while some ancient marine families have skin of pale blue or seafoam green. Rarely, storm giants are born with lustrous purple or blue-black hair, silver or amethyst eyes, and lavender to violet skin, and they are considered blessed by the gods, and often rise to leadership within their families. Twin births are considered very lucky among storm giants, and when they do occur, they dub such children thunder twins. Such giant twins usually develop greater powers than most other storm giants. Storm giants can live to be over 600 years of age. Venerable giants that age past 500 years earn the honorific semilenius. Storm giant families are led by their eldest matriarch or patriarch, but all semilenius elders hold authority. They keep their groups small, but occasionally gather in grand conclaves with other families. Clan alliances may arise to counter tyranny and oppression, and a semilenius is elected as proconsul during emergencies. Storm giants rarely attempt to establish dominion over other races, but sometimes hire smaller races to maintain their lands while they travel. Storm giants adhere to a small pantheon of deities and demigods, including matronly Bergelmir and Sly Skrimir. The storm giant demigods Aegirin and Skode are forever wed, but separated by land and sea, and Thiasse is the lord of rocks, wind, and high mountain peaks. Storm giants are generally found living along rugged coasts, rocky cliffs, and on top of sea stacks. They are also known to reside in aquatic strongholds below the waves. Some storm giants take to sailing, using their mastery of wind and wave to explore the furthest reaches of the oceans and its depths. Storm giants are known for their huge gardens, orchards, and vineyards, as well as their love of meat. Livestock under their care can grow to enormous sizes. Cloud giants. The folklore of floating cities inhabited by towering cloud giants is one that has been passed down through generations. The legends speak of these beings walking on clouds as though they were solid ground, but only a few have ever laid eyes on these supposed cities and the giants who live in them. These sightings are usually reported from remote and isolated regions, and only a handful of cloud giants have ever been seen together at once. A typical cloud giant stands at a remarkable 18 feet tall and weighs a staggering 5,000 pounds. Some individuals, known as monumentals, are exceptional specimens and quickly rise to positions of power in their communities. These powerful warrior cloud giants can reach heights of up to 21 feet and are known for wearing elaborate jewelry and attire. Cloud giants resemble slender humans and possess a distinct ethereal beauty which contrasts with their massive height and immense strength. They have skin that varies from milky white, pale gray, or powder blue, and hair that ranges from ash white to bluish gray, or even pale blonde with a hint of red. and eyes that are gray, violet, or piercing blue. The Cloud Giants view themselves as superior to other giants and believe that their strength is derived from their divine lineage, what they see as a direct and clear lineage from the Titans and the gods. They attribute to this mighty lineage their large stature, advanced mental abilities, and inherent magical powers. Cloud Giants have a refined palate, valuing rare and complex dishes, and enjoying meals consisting of fruits, vegetables, grains, and cheeses, with only small portions of meat. They are connoisseurs of spice and sauces and savor fine wine and expensive liquors. They also love to engage in heated debates on both material and philosophical issues, which can sometimes turn violent, but these arguments usually end with the rivals agreeing to disagree after a good brawl. The Cloud Giants have been divided for centuries due to a great philosophical divide, which scholars believe was over the question of altruism versus pragmatism. The altruistic giants believe that it is their responsibility to guide and uplift other races for the greater good, while the pragmatic Cloud Giants believe that enlightenment can only be earned, and that it is their right to take what they want as they are blessed so. The disagreement escalated into bloodshed and the murder of prominent scholars from both sides, leading to a rift that remains unhealed to this day. The Cloud Giants are ruled by wealthy and powerful leaders known as oligarchs, who are selected through a lengthy diplomatic process. Every 50 years, the families of the tribe select a speaker to represent them, and the speaker who receives the most votes becomes the oligarch of the tribe. The oligarchs of neighboring communities gather to make joint decisions in times of crisis, including declaring war on morally opposed tribes. Due to their low birth rate, the breeding of new generations is a major concern for the ruling oligarchs of the Cloud Giant society. These leaders will often arrange marriages between far-flung communities, even between tribes with differing moral views, based on meticulously maintained genealogical records that suggest ideal partnerships. The Cloud Giants hold a deep love for all creatures of the sky, especially birds, and those who are skilled with avian creatures, such as druids or rangers, are referred to as bird mavens, and hold a position of honor in the Cloud Giant society. They breed and train various aerial creatures, including birds, griffins, hippogriffs, pegasi, and even lesser dragons on occasion. Rune Giants. Rune Giants, some of the largest among all of giant kind, embody domination through force and control lesser beings with their twisted magic and immense strength. These monstrous beings have demonic-looking tusked faces, skin as black as volcanic glass, and blood-red hair. They are adorned with ancient runes covering their bodies, ranging from inches to feet in size. They stand approximately 40 feet tall and can weigh up to 25,000 pounds. Rune Giants are feared and hated by all other giants, as they were created to enslave others of their kind, leaving many giant tribes scarred from past subjugation. Some very large creatures, such as ogres and trolls, worship them like dark gods, while others recognize that worshipping these colossi means enslavement, as they rarely grant freedom to their minions. The existence of Rune Giants is closely tied to the Rune Lords of ancient Thassalon. These evil wizards employed their magic to create the incredibly powerful Rune Giants by crossbreeding Taiga Giants and Fire Giants. The Rune Lords used their massive giants as soldiers, generals, servants, and even as a means of enslaving other giant species to build their monuments and cities. After the fall of Thassalon, many Rune Giants took refuge in the wild frontiers of Vallese, where they remained largely unorganized but still posed a significant threat to the region's inhabitants. Rune Giants have a unique resistance to magic, with fire, ice, and lightning having no effect on their stone-like skin that is covered in sigils and runes. The runes pulse and emit bursts of energy when the Rune Giant uses its powers. Although the symbols on the runes are part of a language that has been lost to time, it is believed that they hold a significant amount of power. Although they are often considered unnatural, Rune Giants have the ability to breed with one another and give birth to offspring that are as massive as they are. At birth, these giant babies are already taller than most humans, and possess the runes that will cover their bodies for the rest of their lives. Rune Giants are long-lived, with many living for 800 years. All Rune Giants have red hair, a characteristic of their Taiga Giant heritage, which can vary in tone from copper to bright red. Males often wear their hair in a top knot, while females take pride in their long ruby locks, often adorning them with impressive headdresses. Those who have dishonored their clans may have their heads shorn or be punished by exile or execution. Rune Giants are known for their love of items that display exceptional craftsmanship, artistry, and knowledge. However, their appreciation is always driven by practicality. For instance, they build elaborate bridges using the finest marble and lacquered timber. not just for aesthetic reasons, but because the structures are strong enough to support the weight of these armored giants and their troops. They study the histories of giant societies and the anatomy of dragons, not just for knowledge's sake, but because it helps them dominate and understand the weaknesses of their enemies. In the clan-based society of Rune Giants, honor and ancestry are of utmost importance. A clan can range from a few families to a dozen, all residing in a specific area and ruled by an overlord who is either the strongest warrior or a highly respected religious leader. Unlike other giants, Rune Giants judge their strongest warrior not just on strength but also on strategy, and they play a complex game called Kurosho to test each other's tactical skills. During the game, they move ivory, jade, and obsidian statues across a giant board to simulate battle tactics. One of the most infamous Rune Giants of the Inner Sea was Queen Ledamaru, who lived over 4,000 years ago. During the Giantkin War, Ledamaru led a siege against the city of Kalsgard, but her army was ultimately defeated. For more information on Ledamaru, watch my regional deep dive video on the Linorm Kingdoms.
Thank you so much for watching my first creature feature. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, let me know in the comments below. If there are particular creatures you want to hear about, let me know. If you enjoyed this content in general, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'll see you next week.